All right, let's get into it. Yahoo Sports put out their all-fade team in fantasy football.
All right.
So they listed out on an article. So all-fade is basically stay away, don't draft them at their ADP, and they were giving some options. They had C.J. Stroud, Josh Jacobs, Devon Achane, Chris Olave, Jaylen Waddle, Trey McBride.
Okay.
So the reason they give C.J. Stroud this is they say you're taking on me as a fourth-round price tag.
Right.
But you can get Lamar Jackson around earlier. And C.J. Stroud doesn't have the running upside that a Lamar Jackson does, or an Anthony Richardson or Kyler Murray.
Sure.
Which I understand.
Yeah, I get it.
C.J. Stroud can be an MVP.
Yeah.
If I like my roster, the first 3 picks, I would go 3 receivers, or if you go 2 receivers and a running back, and then you could come back and get a tight end in the 5th round, I'm going C.J. Stroud. Because it's going to be his second year in the league where he'll make a sophomore jump. Second year in the system with Bobby Slowick, which we saw what they did. The upgrades on offense. Joe Mixon's now in the backfield. Oh, and by the way, they added Stephon Diggs.
Right.
And again, Tank Dell, who's his best friend, he handpicked him. Go draft that kid out of Houston. I want him. I like playing with him. Along with Nico Collins, I'm taking C.J. Stroud. I am not going to fade him. There is no way. He is going to be in the MVP conversation. They have a great defense that they upgraded with Danielle Hunter on the outside. They again assess their secondary. D'Amico Ryans takes care of that, but I can't say it enough. This is the year you want C.J. Stroud because I think this is the last year his offensive coordinator, Bobby Slowick, who came from the Kyle Shanahan coaching tree, will be there before he gets a head coaching job.
He should already have a job.
And I understand the rushing upside of Lamar Jackson. I would take C.J. Stroud over Lamar Jackson. I know it's pure passing. I understand what the boom can be, but I think consistently week to week, C.J. Stroud will be a better quarterback fantasy-wise than Lamar Jackson. And I think as a passer, he's a better quarterback than Lamar Jackson.
There were 3 that jumped out to me. I think that was beautifully said about Stroud. Josh Jacobs in Green Bay, I mean, all this guy does is rush for 1,000 yards, and now he's on a team with an even better offensive line, a better quarterback, and I get maybe that's why you would stay away because he has, Jordan Love and all those weapons that Love has. But Green Bay is not some team that's just going to be pass happy. Green Bay is always a balanced attack and a really solid team. I know a lot of people have them in the Super Bowl this year. I think Josh Jacobs is going to be just fine, so I would not fade him personally. Chris Olave is another one with the Saints. Everyone's down on Derek Carr, myself included. I get it. But this kid put up damn near 1,200 yards last season with him anyways. What difference does it make? Olave is going to be even better this season. Who cares who's playing quarterback? So I like Olave. And then Trey McBride was a biggest head scratcher for me because you have Kyler Murray, who you just talked about, is a fantasy nightmare because of the rushing and the passing aspect. So you have Kyler Murray now for a full season. Remember, he missed 4 or 5 games last year. You have him. Now you have Marvin Harrison Jr. on the outside who's going to take some pressure off of you. So, I mean, Trey McBride should be able to eat, I would think, in the middle of the field, in between the hashes, and certainly in the red zone. I'm looking at him. He's someone I'm targeting at tight end. And there's no way in hell I'm fading Trey McBride with Arizona. So those were the 3 that jumped out to me. I would draft any one or all 3 of those dudes.
Yeah, I think looking at Josh Jacobs, I would think it's more the mileage. Last season was his first one averaging less than 4 yards a rush. And that is the floor you want from a running back. But he's not in a crowded backfield.
No,
A.J. Dillon stinks.
He stinks.
And you mentioned playing with Jordan Love. It's going to open up the box for him more, I believe. I would just have to see where Josh Jacobs' ADP is. But late in the draft, that can be an RB1. And if you hit well enough earlier in your draft, where depending where you're picking, but you get an elite receiver and maybe 2 elite receivers or an elite receiver and a tight end, you just want serviceable at running back. You don't want those goose eggs. You want a high floor. Josh Jacobs could be that high floor. It won't be the high ceiling of a Jahmyr Gibbs or a Saquon Barkley or a Christian McCaffrey, but what's the floor on him? I think that's what's so important. I don't want that boom team that'll give me 200 points one week, but then drop down to 105 the next. I want the consistent 120, 130, depending on the scoring of your league.
Sure.
I think Josh Jacobs could give you a good floor. Devon Achane is interesting. There's Raheem Mostert, Devon Achane, and now Jaylen Wright. And, dude, Jaylen Wright's 210 pounds and runs a sub 4.40. Mike McDaniel's going to love him.
That team's so fast.
I would stay away from Mostert because he's never proven he can stay healthy. I think last season was an anomaly, even with all the touchdowns he got. He might have won you your league, and congrats.
Yep.
But it's where a Chan's ADP is. If it's second or third round, who are you passing up to get him? Do you still need an elite receiver, depending what you did in the first or second round? Can you still get a high quality quarterback, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, right?
Right.
So I think that's where it all comps. Olave, I would stay away from. I don't trust Derek Carr. I don't like New Orleans altogether. I think it's smelly, not literally the city. I think the team situation.
I was like, wait, like funky smell?
Probably is. All those people drinking on the street.
I've been there, and I don't remember the trip, so I couldn't tell you.
Jaylen Waddle, I guess the injury history, but that's wide receiver 2 in the most potent offense in the NFL. I would take Waddle.
Absolutely.
Trey McBride, same thing. Now he has Marvin Harrison Jr. Will he be the tight end 4 he was last season at the end? I don't think so.
Yeah.
But again, what's his floor going to be?
Right.
Because there's Travis Kelce, Sam Laporta, Mike Andrews if he's healthy, and then the drop-off is real.
Yeah.
But then if a Trey McBride or Evan Ingram can be serviceable, if Luke Musgrave can be serviceable, because you want a tight end. You don't want to get stuck with
Hawk.
Maybe Kyle Pitts can be up there, right?
Hawk's up there too. Don't forget Hawk.
Yeah, great call. TJ Hawkinson, thank you. Those guys are up there. Hawkinson is someone I would eye, especially with the Jordan Addison suspension coming down the lane.
By the way, I want to throw you this, and don't forget Laporta as well. He can ball.
Yeah, I mentioned Laporta.
You mentioned Travis Kelce, and of course he's going to be the first tight end taken off the board, and I get it. But we're talking about an all-fade team, guys you want to stay away from, right? I want no parts of Travis Kelce, and I have there's no science to what I'm saying at all. I mean, all the guy does, he's Hall of Famer, right? It's something in my gut, George. Sometimes you just got to go gut.
Yeah.
I think this guy, with this offseason he's had, every time I turned on my TV, it was Travis Kelce at this concert with Taylor Swift. Travis Kelce on vacation with Taylor Swift. Travis Kelce on the podcast with his brother talking about the vacation he just went on with Taylor Swift. Travis Kelce on this show talking about his love for Taylor Swift. Then my wife turns on, these TMZs and Entertainment Tonights and all this nonsense. And it's like coming up in the show, a sit down with Travis Kelce about his love for Taylor Swift. What are we doing? I'm telling you, nothing against Taylor. But I don't know if Travis is focused. And everyone said that when they were hooking up during the season, right? When they first got together. You're in season, baby. You got to lock in. It was fine. They won a Super Bowl. He was a man. But I'm just saying, I think now some of that stuff could be catching up. I think Travis Kelce this season either has a down season or he could get hurt. But I know this. I'm not drafting him on my team. I don't believe it.
Travis Kelce's averaging going, around 26th, 27th overall on a board. You could wait 20 picks, get Trey McBride, Mark Andrews. You could even wait, bad math, 55 picks, couple rounds, but you could get Jake Ferguson. Again, what's the ceiling, what's the floor? I think that's what's big in a lot of this.
When's your draft? Mine's September 1st, Labor Day weekend.
Yours is September 1st. Mine's August 26th.
Oh, yours is soon.
26th. It's right after we do it. Right after last preseason game.
Okay.
Yeah, you got to do it. You got to do it as late as possible. And if anyone's out there, and if you're already drafted, leave the league. Talk to your commissioner and leave the league. To do a draft before the preseason's concluded with all the injuries and just training camp in general, guys can go down. You need to do it as close to the first kickoff of the season as possible.
Why are you telling them to leave?
Because that's an awful commissioner league to draft already. And as we see, too, like all these ADPs can shift so much, even between now and leading up to the draft. If you have already drafted, look at me. This is your last year in that league. Do yourself the favor and either become commissioner and establish we're drafting Labor Day weekend or leave and start your own league.
Bro, this is a fantasy league. It's not a hostage situation. Like, blink twice if you need help.
Brother, I put too much time and money into fantasy football.
Facts.
I put too much time. And you know what? When you win your league, you want to feel good about it being the best league possible.
Leave your league. Run for your life.
That's the thing with that.